So in this video, you will learn how to design a reinforced concrete rectangular beam, singly reinforced, using Prokon program. So as you can see in front of you, this is example 2, which is the same example that we solved during class. So it is required to design a rectangular beam section at mid-span of a 6.6 meter simply supported beam with supports which supports its own weight, superimposed load, and live load, and we have the material properties Fc dash and Fy, and it is required to use bar diameter equal to 28 millimeters. I took this from example 2. So in example 2, we considered the 600 millimeter depth and the width of the beam equal to 300, and we considered the ultimate moment equal to 411.6. So as you can see, when you are using programs, you need to have some calculations. These calculations, as we will learn in the project, you can use ETABS to get them, or you can calculate them manually as we did in the problem. Manual calculations is a very important part of any structural engineer work. You cannot depend only on programs. You have to do these sanity checks to make sure that the program is calculating correctly based on the input that you used. So in front of you, this is Prokon Program, and as you can see, this is an educational license that you will be added to. And the educational license is missing some parts from the professional one, but we will use it in our course, considering the available tools. So when you consider the Prokon, choose concrete. This will take you to the modules that you can use in order to design a reinforced concrete beam. After you choose concrete, choose beam section. So this will take you to the part related to beam section design. The default is a T-beam, so choose a rectangular beam because this is what we are interested in this example, and this will change the listed beam in front of you, considering the shape and the parameters that you need to enter. Make sure that the design code is ACI 318. As we agreed, this is the same code that the Saudi building code is following. So when you choose ACI 2014, you are actually following the Saudi building code. If it is not the same code, just press it and choose the code ACI. After you choose the code, you need now to consider the parameters needed for design. So what you need to consider is the different values for the design of the beam. Here I am taking the values that we calculated. If you recall in example 2, we started by a depth equal to 450 and this depth was not working, so we increased to 600 and a width equal to 300. So I'm taking the values considering the assumptions for the beam width and the width of the beam. You can use any values and then the program will tell you whether these values are working or not. But you need to calculate the moment, and usually we take the moment from design programs like TABS or SAP, or we do manual calculations like we did in the class. The rest of the values, as you can see, we have the reinforcement centroid. So this is the distance from the bottom of the beam till the centroid of the reinforcement. So it takes into account the concrete cover plus the stirrups diameter plus half of the diameter of the bars. Leave it 50 as it is, and then make sure that you have FC dash and FY according to the values in your example. Make sure also that you don't have any error signs or error messages in case you have inserted dimensions that doesn't work. For example, a very tight width of a beam, a very long lengthy edge. In this case, you will have an error message. So we need to check the error messages in all cases. After you inserted these values, press design. So the program will check your section and calculate the needed reinforcement for the sections that you inserted, considering the bending moment that you have considered. So in front of you, you have the design results. We have the design for moment, shear, and torsion. Right now, we are only interested in the moment. So we will consider the value of area S. As you can see, area S dash is 0. This is the compression steel. So we are not using compression steel in this example, and you can see in front of you also the area steel minimum. Here we have area S equal to 2227. Type. You will notice some differences between this area S and the ones that we calculated in the example that we solved in lecture, because you have some estimates related to the effective depth. So these estimates will cause these differences. But in the end, as we will see in the next slide, the required number of the bars is exactly the same. The program also gives you some suggested reinforcement configuration. So it says to have this area steel, you can use 5 phi 25 or 3 phi 32 or 2 phi 40. These values, you don't have to use them. If you have a bar diameters that you need to use, in this case, you can use it on your own. So these are just proposals that you can follow or not. As you can see what I did, I took the area steel that the program calculated, and then I'm using bar diameter 28. So I am calculating how many bars I need. So I found also I need 4, 5, 28. And as you can see, this is the exact same design as the manual calculations. You just need to draw your section. So here you have the section considering the designs that you got from the program. If you are using the professional licensed version, in this case, the program also will give you the detailing of the beam. If you want to see the details of the calculations, you can press calculation sheets. So if you press it, you will see here that Prokon gives you the calculation sheets, including all the steps needed to calculate the areas. So you can go through it and you will see similarities with what we learned in class, considering the manual calculations. We use these manual calculations to understand the behavior of the beam and to give any extra editing if we need in the design of the beam.